In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to add motion to your tripod footage. So first step, of course, is to open up Premiere Pro, and we're going to go ahead and locate our stationary interview or our tripod footage. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and drag in an interview that I shot years ago in Austin, Texas. And I'm just going to press I for input to select a portion of this interview so I can show you guys how to add motion to it. Okay, once I've selected a 5-minute portion, I'm going to go ahead and just drag that directly into the timeline. And as you guys can see here, the audio and the visual popped up. And if I watch it and I zoom through here, you guys can see that there's no motion whatsoever. It's just a stationary tripod camera angle. Okay, so the first step in adding motion is to select where we want the position to start. Okay, and in order to do that, we need to make sure that our clip in the timeline is selected. So you can go ahead and make sure you grab your selection tool, or you can press V and just go ahead and click directly on that clip. Now, you will want to come up to the effects controls because we're going to be wanting to change the effects of this clip. So I'm going to come up to the left hand portion of my screen, making sure I'm on the editing window and clicking effects control. If you don't see this effects control panel, you can come up to window and come down and make sure that the effects control panel is selected. All right, so once you do that, we're going to get right into selecting our start point. Okay, so I'm going to actually center this clip a little bit. So I'm going to be coming up in the effects control panel and changing the scale. So I'm going to drag the scale a little bit. I'm going to drag and change the position until you find a nice starting point. All right. So what we need to do now is toggle animation. So next to the scale and the position, you'll see these little icons under the motion tab. If you guys don't see that, you want to make sure you click this little arrow, and you guys will see the various things you can change when it comes to the clip's motion. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and after setting my start point, I want to press toggle animation for the scale and toggle animation for the position. And I'm going to select these two keyframes that were added to the clip and drag them to the very, very first frame. So as you guys can see now, if I come back to my timeline and zoom through this clip, you guys will see there's no change in the animation, but I have changed that position through the entire clip. And the next step is to set the end point for the animation. Okay, so if we want there to be a subtle zoom in, I'm going to need to increase my scale. So it's at 117 now. Let's say 125 we want to be the end point. And I'm going to change the top position as well. Okay, now as you guys can see, it's dropped additional keyframes into the timeline. I want to make sure that I highlight those keyframes now, and I'm going to bring them to the very end of the clip. And as you guys can see now, if we watch this clip, we've added a very subtle position and scale animation to our tripod footage. So if we want to come to the beginning and just simply watch this, it's not that obvious because this clip is 5 minutes long, but as I scroll through, you guys will see that subtle zoom animation. Now, a good way to change this, let's say we want it to zoom in more abruptly, or we want it to zoom into one specific person or point, we can bring back these keyframes by highlighting them and selecting them. And I can zoom up and make the animation even more extreme. All right, so let's say we wanted to zoom up on this subject here. Now I'm going to take these keyframes. Again, I'm going to tell them we want this to be the position at the very end of the video. And now if we watch this clip, there's going to be more of a zoom in on one specific subject. All right, so that is how you use keyframes to add motion to your tripod footage. You can use this lesson and apply it to any clips that you have within your timeline if you want to add zoom or toggle the animation points to be able to take a simple video and add some motion post-production through the editing process to make your footage look cooler.